I'm going to go over factoring monic trinomials, which are trinomials where the coefficient on the x squared term is 1, like you see in this one here. And I'm going to do 3 assignment problems. The first one that you see here is one that almost 100% of the class was able to master. So first we'll review how to do this one, and then we'll do another 2 that are trickier because of the different signs on the numbers. So recall, when we factor monic trinomials, there is a special method we can use that is easier than the methods we have to use for the other trinomials where the coefficient on the x squared is not 1. So this special method for monic trinomials is that we find factors that give us the c term, this constant term, factors of the c that add to give us the b, the coefficient on the x term. You can see here, most of you can probably see it right away, 6 times 7 is 42, and 6 plus 7 is 13. So then we use those numbers, 6 and 7, like this. We put them at the end of the parentheses. They're both positive. And this is the factorization of the trinomial. Now let's factor x squared plus 10x minus 200. Finding those factors of c that sum to give us b isn't as obvious on this one. So one thing you can do is take your c and prime factorize it. You can start with any 2 factors, the first 2 that come to you, such as 20 times 10 gives us 200, and then keep breaking down the factors into the lowest primes. 20 breaks down into 10 times 2, 10 breaks down into 5 times 2, and then 10 breaks down more into 5 times 2. And now we have all prime factors. These numbers multiply to give us 200. So I'm going to write them in order here. 200 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. And now I'm going to use this prime factorization to come up with all of the possible factors of 200. And I try to use a systematic method. I'll start with 2 times all of the rest of them. 2 times 25 times 4 is 2 times 100. So here's one pair of factors. And then 4 times all of the rest of them. 4 times 25 times 2 is 50. Then 8 times all of the rest of them. 8 times 25. Then 5. 5 times all of the rest. 5 times 40. And finally 10 times 20. Now, if I had been thinking, I would have seen right away that these are actually the numbers, but this is a little more complicated because of the sign here. These factors have to multiply to give us a minus 200. And at the same time, they have to add to give us a plus 10. So so this takes a little more thinking. To get a negative product, the signs on the factors have to be different. So we know that the signs must be different because they have to multiply to give us a negative 200. But they have to add to give us a positive sum. So that tells us that the bigger number, the bigger factor, must be positive, because they have to add to give us a positive. So this one is a smaller one, so I make it negative. This is negative. This is smaller, so it's negative, negative, negative. And then you can see clearly here that these are the magic numbers, because 20 minus 10 is equal to 10. So that gives us the B term. That's the B term, the B coefficient. So now the correct factorization using the 20 and the minus 10 is x plus 20, x minus 10. And it doesn't matter which order you put these factors, because multiplication is commutative. 4 times 2 is the same as 2 times 4. But it does matter what the signs on your numbers are. This must be positive and this must be negative 10, because we need a positive B, and these have to sum to give us a positive. Okay? So they sum to give us a positive, and they multiply to give us this negative. So this is our answer. Okay, so here's another one where it's not immediately, in particular in this one, it's not immediately evident what factors of minus 126 sum to give us minus 11. So, and here you see the signs are different than the previous two trinomials. So I'm going to start again with prime factorizing the 126. 126 divided by 2 is 63, so these are two factors. Keep breaking the 63 down. Breaks down into 9 times 7, for instance. And 9 breaks down into 3 times 3. So now I can write 126 is equal to 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. And starting with the first one, 2 times all of the rest is 2 times 63. And then the 6 times all of the rest, 6 times 21. And then the 6 times 3 is 18 times 7. And then we also have this 3 times all of the rest, 3 times 42. And then this 9 times this 14. Okay, now we think about the signs. These have to multiply to give us a negative product here. This is a negative product. So we need to get that negative product. Negative times a negative is a positive. Positive times a negative is a negative. So the signs have to be different. We know that. But they have to sum to give us a negative here. So to sum to give us a negative, the bigger factor is going to have to be negative this time. So we make the bigger factor negative in each case. And then we think, which of these sum to give us negative 11? Well, let's take a look at this one. Negative 18 plus 7. 18 minus 7 is 11, but the bigger number is negative, so this is negative 11. And that is our B. That is the B that we're looking for here. So The correct factorization of this, I'll write it here, is x minus 18 times x plus 7. Okay, so this and this are equal. We factored this trinomial here.